Hola amigos, this is my comic pull list for October 5th, 2016. This week wasn't as full as my last week, but I still had 8 titles, so let's get into it with DC and Cyborg number 2. Cyborg fights Kilgore, an artificial alien life form whose goal is to get Vic to renounce his humanity and join a mechanical consortium of sorts. This is still an okay comic, though I was starting to lose interest about halfway in this issue, but the ending got me hooked again. Next, it's Flintstones number 4. The satire is strong with this one, as the people of Bedrock take sides on the issue of marriage. Should two people be allowed to join together for life in a monogamous relationship, or should they have to have multiple mates as dictated by tradition? This is clearly a tongue-in-cheek nod to last year's marriage equality debate. And speaking of which, I'm sure I'm not the only one who knows the resemblance between one of the rioters and a certain dowdy, thrice-divorced Kentucky County clerk who got her 15 minutes of fame for being a hypocritical asshat. This was a good issue of this comic, which has been kind of hit or miss for me since it came out. Hope we get more writing like this in the future. And moving on, it's Midnighter and Apollo number 1. Midnighter's back in a 6-part miniseries. Who is this Midnighter bloke, you may ask? Take Batman. I'm Batman. Take away his fortune and his memory, give him super healing powers, cram a future predicting fight computer in his head, and then add a big hankering for hunky dudes. And you've got Midnighter. This miniseries picks up a few months after the last run, which ended this past spring. Midnighter and his ex-Apollo have teamed back up both in crime-fighting and romantic capacities, but things aren't perfect for the pair as they disagree about Midnighter's treatment of criminals, and there's also the fact that he sneaks out every night in search of his creator, Bendix. This was a good first issue, which doesn't surprise me since it was written by Steve Orlando, who was in charge of the last run. The art style is a little different, as Fernando Blanco takes over the reins from Eiko, but it's still a good fit for this title. Looking forward to the next issue, and hopefully we'll get an ongoing series out of this. And speaking of Steve Orlando, it's Nightwing number 6, and we're still in the Night of the Monster Men crossover event. And yep, I was completely lost. I skimmed through this issue and had no idea what was going on. Thankfully, this storyline is supposed to wrap up before the next issue comes out, so hopefully I'll be able to get back into the next issue. Moving on, it's Dynamite and another crossover. It's Army of Darkness and Xena Warrior Princess in Forever and a Day number 1. Xena and Gabrielle are on the losing side of an epic battle, so the Warrior Princess uses pages from the Necronomicon to summon another great warrior to come to their aid. Unfortunately, that warrior is Ash, who in present day is the assistant night manager at S-Mart. But mystical time travel isn't very precise, bringing Ash to Xena before they've met. This is the first part of a 6-part miniseries, and unless it gets better, I probably won't make it all the way through to the end. Elliot Fernandez's art was good, but I just didn't care for the story by Scott Lobdell. I just didn't find it very engaging. Next from Image, it's The Walking Dead number 159. The gang battles the Whisperers and their undead herd, and a Walking Dead icon meets its end. Meanwhile, Dwight comes up with an ingenious plan. So we're halfway through the Whisperer War, and things are getting really exciting, so I'm really looking forward to the next issue. Next from Marvel, it's Jessica Jones number 1. Now I'm a fan of the Netflix series, so I thought I'd give this a shot. In this issue, Jessica has just gotten out of jail and returns to her life as a private eye. But while she gets to work on a new case, she's being harassed by other superpowered beings who are looking for something precious that she has hidden away. This was an okay first issue. I thought Brian Michael Bendis' writing was really good, but I wasn't a huge fan of Michael Gator's art or the coloring by Matt Hollingsworth. Maybe the style will grow on me, we'll see. And finally from Titan, it's Doctor Who, the 9th Doctor, number 6. The Doctor, Rose and Jack follow one of the gargoyles back from the last issue to the 1970s, or maybe the 80s. See, the Doctor isn't quite sure because he's too preoccupied by giant monsters that appear out of nowhere to lock down the time period specifically. And things only get more complicated when Unit arrives. This was a pretty good issue. Kevin Scott is doing great on this title, and the artwork by Adriana Milo is pretty decent also. Like the last storyline, this new one is also only 2 issues, but I'm starting to get the idea that they're going to be part of a bigger overall story arc. So time will tell. No pun intended. This week I dropped Godzilla Rage Against Time from IDW. What can I say? I'm just not a big Godzilla fan. So that brings this video to a close. Make sure you like and subscribe, and maybe drop me a comment down below. And make sure you keep an eye out for my giveaway contest coming soon. Ciao, Bambinos!